Hi there, I'm Matt Keene. Welcome to Creating a Future We Want. A few years ago, I was going through one of these big times in our lives of transition. In this case, it was moving on from a job that I had been working at for about a dozen years onto something totally new. Trying to figure out what to do, and I was chatting with a buddy, Sid, amazing guy, beautiful human being, brilliant mathematician, has a company building all sorts of AIs that are so useful and fruitful for so many purposes. And Sid and I walked down the street from our homes to Georgetown University, and we, sneaked into the math department, Sid's choice, and we were looking at a glass wall, and he was explaining to me what all the formulas meant and who developed them, and I was extremely impressed and so glad that somebody knows all that stuff. And we were tucked away into a corner, chatting, trying to look conspicuous and like 20 years younger, and we were talking about what we're both going to do next. He was at a place, sort of a crossroads in some of his work too, so we were back and forth, and he looks over conspiratorially, as Sid does, and says, "Is this conspiratorial? We should do something together." And I said, "Yes, we should. I've got a ton of ideas." He said, "Send them to me." I did. I never heard from him. Not exactly true. We kept talking about a few things, but I never did have the guts to ask him why he didn't specifically ever respond to all of the ideas I wrote up. We chatted about a few things, and the main point of it was that was a time that forced me to organize many of my projects, initiatives that I'd been doing independently or collaboratively with others into a list. I had, if 50, I mean, maybe I had hundreds at this point, and I hadn't really realized it. Some of them past a point of completion, some of them in conceptualization stage, and many in between in some way. And all of these notions were conceived, built, developed, designed in the context of a value system oriented towards the well-being of all life, towards creating a future that we want. I was in this place where I was like, oh my gosh, I am keeping all of this to myself. No one knows about any of it, really, except for my poor wife and children who have to hear me talk about these things all the time. And I need to make sure that I share them in some way. I cannot keep it to myself. Set humility aside when you think you have something that may better enable a future that we all want, a well-being for all of us. And how do I ensure that if there is anything in here or that I've created that may influence things for the better, that I do not take it with me? So I'm going to create Creating a Future We Want, this website, and I'm going to ensure that some notion of every single, what I'm framing as praxis, every single process that I've engaged with to create something that is for a future that we want, is shared in some way. And I'm going through a lot of ideas about testing and prototyping of how to share these things. I have enormous quantities of written material and little videos and other projects and things, hard products that have been created, but it's all over the map. It's from woodworking to new bridge designs. It's from digital marketplaces for art and food to children's stories, screenplays and poetry, to musical design of new novel musical instruments, all over the place. And so I'm going to create this website, frame each contribution as a praxis, and this collection of praxes, or deep praxes, I'll post some more videos about that shortly, but essentially it's my process for creating something of value for a future we want. My criteria for each of them, relatively low bar. It's novel, feasible, fun, related to creating a future we want, may somehow conceivably contribute to that, and I'm going to pitch it out there for others to judge the merit, worth, and significance of these things and use them as needed. That's the why of creating a future we want. I'm Matt Keene. Be good.